Well, back to Fog Racing here on the big channel. And this was a great race, man. The Turkish Grand Prix. Fully wet conditions, slippy. A track that has just been recently laid down. And due to this, it was absolute chaos. I mean, yesterday was epic. We had Stroll on pole, Max second, Prez third. A complete and utterly mixed up grid. Albon fourth. But we kick off this race, man, and basically everyone on the even side of the grid doesn't get away, apart from Hamilton, who seemed to master it. But both Red Bulls slip back. Going into turn one, Hamilton launches it on Ricardo, but he clips Ocon. I feel sorry for Ocon, but to be honest, Renault weren't really. I'm not that good at just listening to Max, so I didn't have a good race today. But you know what was mad about this race? It was literally a racing point 1-2 for so long. Later on in the lap, Hamilton ran wide, and that basically released Max and Vettel. So, and then I think Albon also got through in Hamilton. So, like the top six was the two racing points. Max, it was Vettel, Max, Albon, and Hamilton. That was basically the only six you realistically thought could win, because then it was Ricardo. Not really what to make, but there was like no, it was mad. But not one driver on this grid didn't make a mistake. I mean, Herbert tried to say post thing. Oh, we talk about Max being so good, he made a mistake. Well, Hamilton didn't. Hamilton made plenty of mistakes. Everyone fucking did. You know, I'm not denying Hamilton's drive was great. You know what I mean? He did fucking wonders to keep those tyres alive, but I think he did get a lot of good fortune today. I mean, brilliant drive. I mean, obviously that experience, being a seven-time world champion, gets you that, but I think very easily on another day here, Lewis Hamilton does not win this Grand Prix, because one, Max bottles it on Perez. Didn't need to do that. He did not need to launch it in the inside of a turn that you cannot get past that. Just sit him behind them, mate. You know? No need to risk it. Hamilton gets through there. Albon then spins because he's just pish. Vettel pit it for fresh enters, but that turns out to be the wrong thing. Then Stroll pits for fresh enters. And then Hamilton just easily gets past Perez because Stroll backed Perez up into Hamilton. You know? But Hamilton, 7-time world champion, congrats to him. Loads of spins with fucking, I mean, literally everyone. I mean, I'm going to say loads of spins. Max spun more, Albon spun right, but there's one driver who I want a wee word with, and that is Valtteri Bottas, because this guy had, I think, the worst race I've ever seen in my life. I'm not even joking when I say that, man. Spins it into turn one, right? Then it takes out Ocon later on in turn one, and then proceeds to have about 57 different spins. Finishes way outside the points in the fastest car in the grid. I get this was a great equaliser, and it was. I'm not going to take that away, but facts are facts. This is the fastest car in the grid, and when your teammate is finishing 30 seconds clear of anyone else, and you're doing there, serious questions got to be asked about this guy. I mean, Hamilton has walked the past couple of titles because this guy's pish, and as much as challenge to him as fucking, you know what I mean, a sausage dog is to a lion eating a steak, you know, like, just, not much more to say about it. Stroll, again, I mean, I wouldn't say he had such a bad as race as Bottas, but I mean, I think Stroll should have won this race. If he, I mean, you can argue they shouldn't have pitted him, yes, but at the end of the day, look at all the other people that pit it. You know what I mean? Like, other people that made it work. Like, I'm looking at one guy in particular, Charles Leclerc. He would have been my driver of the day if he got second. I mean, because he was fucking nowhere early on, and he had to do a lot of overtaking. You know, but there was some great battles, man. Verstappen got past Albon. shit like that. Sainz had another great drive. Vettel was one of his best drives in a long time. What else happened? We had synchronised spinning between Kimi and Max, which is brilliant. And then we get into the last lap. There's a whole threat of rain, more rain, but didn't come. Hamilton wins, and then Perez runs wide. Leclerc overtakes him, but overtaking him, he runs onto the marbles, and then they're heading side by side, going into the end of the straight. Leclerc locks up. Perez does the undercut, gets back through, and then Vettel manages to get through on Leclerc. So the podium, it finishes Hamilton, Perez, Vettel, Leclerc, Sainz, Max, Albon, Norris, Stroll, and then Daniel Ricciardo in P10. I think actually Ocon did quite a good recovery drive considering he got took out about 10 times. And surprisingly, no one really binned it. All the retirements were just fucking shitey retirements, like. Yeah, just looking at the highlights there, Bottas spinning. I mean, absolute shit show from him. I'm not even joking, man. But anyway, early morning review, man. Up early for this. It was a great race, I'm not going to deny it. Was it the greatest race of all time? No, but I think I'll remember it for a long time just due to the fact that the surface was shit. Like, I think we legit had a point where anyone could have won it, but then once Hamilton got past Perez, you kind of seen that everyone's made a mistake here, and Hamilton just keeps on extending his lead. Leclerc, I actually thought at one stage could have won it because he was about 23 seconds behind Hamilton catching Perez, but then he ran wide. But like I said, guys, Hamilton's the man, my driver of the day. I don't think you can really argue it. Even though both Ferraris did a great job, but if Leclerc got past Perez and got second, I definitely would have gave him it. But guys, he bottled it, and on that note, I'll give this race a 9 out of 10. It was great, but until then, peace.